Nearly $700 billion has quietly shifted out of the US and into Canada and Mexico in just 18 months. While Washington throws up tariff walls, its neighbors are building a new alliance, sharing trade and investment while leaving America out of its own backyard. By June, the world watched a shocking image: Canadian and Mexican delegations meeting in Mexico City for trade talks, with the US nowhere in sight. It wasn't just a snub. It was proof that North America's old trade order was breaking apart. Washington's tariffs on steel, aluminum, cars, and agriculture shattered trust in USMCA. By early 2025, the damage was brutal. US exports plunged 4% in just 3 months, and May's trade deficit exploded nearly 19%, a level not seen since 2008. Corporate America was first to bleed. Apple, Stanley Black & Decker, and Colgate-Palmolive lost hundreds of millions per quarter from tariff-driven costs. Walmart and Best Buy hiked prices. Nike, Crocs, and Birkenstock saw margins collapse and moved production overseas. But the real pain hit everyday Americans. Prices for everything — cars, electronics, steel, food — jumped 10% to 25% within months. Families cut back on essentials or went into debt just to keep the lights on. Meanwhile, Canada and Mexico, once dependent on the US, were cashing in. Canada's exports to the US fell 16%, yet its overall exports rose 1% by finding new buyers. Japan up 23%. Germany up 46%. The UK up a staggering 300%. Canada's $40 billion LNG project opened a direct pipeline to Asia and Europe, freeing it from US energy dependence. Timber, seafood, high-tech agriculture — Ottawa turned every tariff blow into a new trade channel. Canadians responded with a nationwide "Buy Canadian" wave. Supermarkets swapped US products for European and Asian goods. Canadian beef, seafood, and produce stormed foreign shelves, grabbing markets the US once owned. Foreign investors noticed. Ford, Toyota, and Bombardier expanded in Canada, dodging US tariffs. In early 2025 alone, foreign investment in Canada rose $18 billion, creating thousands of jobs. In the US, the opposite story unfolded: imports cost more, exports dropped, jobs in steel, autos, and manufacturing vanished by tens of thousands. Unemployment hit its highest level in 7 years. Trump's new trade rules slapped a blanket 15% tariff on most imports and kept 50% on steel and aluminum. The idea? Use tariffs as a bargaining weapon. The result? Supply chains shattered, especially between Canada and the US, where parts cross the border multiple times during production. Car costs in Ontario jumped $2,000 to $5,000 per vehicle. Wheat, beef, and energy shipments slowed or stopped. Gasoline prices spiked in cities from Chicago to Toronto. Businesses cut staff, and small factories shut down. Ottawa refused to rush into US framework deals, short-term agreements that force partners to buy US goods without long-term guarantees. Instead, Canada invested in electric vehicle parts, and domestic manufacturing to build independence. When Washington tried to force deadlines, Canada played the long game, stalling negotiations, rallying public support, and finding new trade partners. By waiting, Ottawa forced the US into an uncomfortable position while protecting its industries. But for ordinary people, the cost of this trade war is real. Groceries, gas, utilities — everything costs more. The average North American household now spends $2,400 to $2,800 more per year just to survive. Seniors are going back to work. Families are skipping medical care. Canada, meanwhile, is thinking far ahead, developing its Arctic region loaded with oil, gas, and rare minerals like lithium and cobalt. These resources are critical for electric vehicles, AI, and defense, and they give Canada a powerful bargaining chip in any future trade fight. In the end, Canada is proving patience, strategy, and diversification can turn a trade war into a long-term win. The US is still swinging the tariff hammer, but its neighbors have learned how to duck and strike back in ways that really matter. If you want more deep dives into the hidden moves shaping our economy, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and share this video so more people see what's really going on.